Hi, my name is Helen, and I will be talking about the giant garter snake. The giant garter snake is also called the Thamnophis gigas. It differs from the regular garter snake in that it is at least 64 inches long. Females tend to be longer and heavier than males, weighing 1 to 1.5 pounds. Giant garter snakes have brown to olive colored backs with black checkered spots. They have a yellow stripe running down their back and 2 white stripes on their sides. Giant garter snakes are only found in the Pacific Southwest region. They are endemic to California. They inhabit agricultural wetlands and other waterways because they need water to survive. However, much of the snake's natural habitat has been lost, which is why many of them now live in rice fields. They use wetland plants such as cattails and bulrushes for cover and foraging, and grassy banks and openings in vegetation for sunning. In the winter, giant garter snakes find small mammal burrows and other soil crevices above flood elevations to hibernate. Between April 1st and May 1st, they begin hunting for food. They are secondary consumers, so they mostly eat small fish, tadpoles, and frogs. When threatened or picked up, they release their cloacal contents and emit a foul-smelling musk. Giant garter snakes require enough water to provide food and cover during the active season. Giant garter snakes are secondary consumers. They feed on small fish, frogs, and tadpoles, and their predators include raccoons, hawks, foxes, skunks, and water birds. And some invasive species that are threatening to garter snakes include nutria, the mute swan, and the African clawed frog. So nutria was introduced multiple times into California for the fur trade starting in 1899. In the 1940s, many nutria were released from nutria farms, and they do lots of damage to the banks of bodies of water and extensive damage to the native plant community and soil structure, as well as significant losses to agricultural crops. Nutria feed on wetland plants that keep the native soil together, and they are mainly controlled by trapping. The mute swan was introduced to New York in the late 1800s and kept as pets at private residences or public parks in California. They are voracious feeders of SAV, or submerged aquatic vegetation, which is an important part of aquatic ecosystems. Mute swans negatively impact the structure and function of aquatic habitats native species depend on. They are controlled mainly through habitat modification, reproductive control, and trapping. The African clawed frog was imported into the United States for laboratory use and for the pet trade. They outcompete native frogs and other aquatic species for food, and they're controlled by adding low doses of chlorine to pond water to kill the frogs. Their biggest threats, so the giant garter snake faces many threats, but their biggest threat is the loss or degradation of habitat. Giant garter snakes have experienced habitat fragmentation because of urban expansion, agricultural conversion, and flood control activities. They are prone to predation from introduced species, road and vehicular mortalities, and the negative effects of climate change. Giant garter snakes were federally listed as a threatened species on October 20th, 1993. In 2017, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service outlined a recovery strategy along with necessary actions. This recovery plan focuses on protecting existing habitat and identifying and protecting areas for habitat restoration. The giant garter snake will be removed from the threatened list by 2047 if recovery criteria have been met. So here are my sources, and thank you for watching.